Hey, business building warrior. Welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. I'm your host today, Jim Cockrum. It's just you and me hanging out. Thanks for joining me and giving me a few minutes of your time. I think you're going to be very glad that you did. I'm hoping that this is one of those episodes that you'll really want to share with a friend who maybe isn't even in e-commerce, but they're just trying to start a business or they're running a business currently. And I came up with a list based a lot on my studies with my good friend, Rabbi Daniel Lapin. You hear us talk about him and just being a student of biblical truth and then an entrepreneur for the past 2+ decades. There's several things that I've identified that are benefits of owning and running a business, even if it's not going so well. I would say some of these benefits actually kick in a stronger way when things aren't going well. But the benefits of trying to run a successful business, besides having more money in the bank if things go well, what else is going on when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a business builder, when you're out there trying to serve God's other children with excellence in such a way that generates a profit so you can keep on serving them without needing donations from anyone? That's right. My definition of a profit is those funds that allow me to continue serving God's other children without needing donations. That's what a profitable business is. It's my opportunity to serve with excellence and build lifelong, mutually beneficial relationships, right? But what are the other benefits that come along with the package? So, not necessarily in any particular order, but I wanted to talk through a list that I thought about, prayed about. I believe I could scripturally back up all of this. The benefits of pouring your life out in service through business, which in no way denigrates the virtue associated with serving others. It just makes it reciprocal, which is beautiful. It means people are saying thank you. Again, to borrow a term that I've borrowed from many times from my good friend, Rabbi Lapin, again, who I reference frequently because his content's so good on this topic, biblical truths, money and finance through a biblical lens. So one of the things that he says is money is just evidence that one of God's children served another one of God's children. It's a thank you note. It's a certificate of gratitude. That's what money is. It's proof that you served well. Unless you stole it, took it by force, unless the other party somehow feels like they lost and you won, well, that's not a good transaction. In a good transaction, both parties win. And if your business is built on both parties voluntarily walking away happier than before the transaction, well, you've built a beautiful business. So what are the benefits besides the financial benefits? Let's get into some of these character traits. I believe it makes you a better friend. It makes you a better spouse. It makes you a better parent. It makes you a better neighbor. There's all kinds of positive things going on as you begin the journey of building a business. It's a very virtuous activity. Let's talk about them. The first one is delayed gratification. This is something our culture isn't too excited about in many other arenas, but if you're going to build a business, you're going to have to do that. If it's not self-evident, what do I mean by delayed gratification? Well, that $500 that you'd like to spend on that new watch you've had your eyes on, well, how about if we don't do that and we buy inventory instead that we're going to resell? If you're in our community, maybe you resell Amazon, Walmart, that kind of thing, right? So you're reselling. And that $500 then 6 weeks or 8 weeks from now comes back to us as $550, let's say, of total revenue. So now we started with 500, we did a bunch of work and we served a bunch of people and they bought stuff that they wanted. And now we have $550. Well, what are you going to do with that? Well, if you go buy an even nicer watch, they're starting over. But what if we roll that 550 back into our business again, and then it comes back again, and we got a little over $600 round two a few weeks later. And now we've created a machine. So every day the money's kind of churning and you just keep putting the money back in. It's called reinvesting. Well, you're delaying your gratification. You're delaying the reward and the benefit because you're serving others. You're putting yourself second constantly, which, if you hadn't noticed, is a huge theme biblically. Put others before self. That's what delayed gratification is. It's saying, hey, I'm not going to get what I need right now. I'm going to make sure that others are being served with excellence, knowing that when the time comes, when it's necessary, there'll be resources there and I'll be able to do those things. So delayed gratification, it makes you a more patient person as well. the practice of saying, you know what, I don't have to have what I want right now when I need it. I can wait. I can serve others. I can build. I can delay. That's a huge benefit as a business person to be able to say, I can delay those things that I think I need now. I'm not going to dig a hole of debt to get that car I think I deserve. Instead, I'm going to serve others well. And then I'll make a huge down payment or pay cash for those things that make the most sense for my budget once I'm able to do it. That gives you a huge advantage in business. So you're going to be better at delayed gratification out of necessity, because you're going to have to put some of your time, effort, energy, and resources into serving others and expanding your pool of resources. That takes time. All businesses take time to play out. Next, some of the best friends you will ever have are the people that you build businesses with, and the people that you earn money with, and the people that you serve alongside. And this is true whether it's a business or maybe it's an organization, maybe it's your church. And you know that you can probably remember those times and those occasions where you've gone out of your way with others by your side to serve others with excellence. I mean, it's one of the reasons that parents get closer, if it's a healthy family, with the challenge of raising kids. It's a bond that you'll never share with anyone else. So there's a serving, a pouring out. You're doing the work together. You're looking at each other, exhausted at 3 a.m, going, wow, we got to figure this out. Like, what did we get ourselves into here, right? But you're doing it together. And then you look back a few years later and you cherish those moments and you remember those moments because you are pouring out of yourself into some of God's other children. Maybe it was your child, but that's what business is. And those bonds that result are very powerful. So powerful, in fact, is this effect of serving alongside someone else in the interest of others that it can actually be a very dangerous thing. That's how powerful it is. What do I mean by that? Well, you don't have to use your imagination very long to kind of think to yourself why it is that the divorce rate among married nurses who work with prominent surgeons and the divorce rate among prominent surgeons who work with nurses saving people's lives on an operating table, they have an unusually high divorce rate. Now, someone would say, well, that's because it's a high pressure environment. Well, yeah, that actually compounds the effect, because now you're serving the best interest of another human side by side, literally blood, sweat, and tears involved, consoling families when things don't go right, saving lives when all hope was lost. You're looking at each other, over the rims of your sweaty glasses and masks saying, well, we better get this right. And then you do. And the reward of that moment, you can see where that bond is so strong. That's an extreme example, and probably very few of us will ever experience that kind of environment. And if you do, be careful, because yes, there's some very real spiritual connection happening when you're serving in an intense environment, serving others. Well, that's what business is. You're serving others in an intense environment. And it may feel like, no, I'm just put tape on boxes. That's all I really do. I'm not really selling. I'm not really building relationships with my customers. I never even meet my customers. Well, that doesn't mean that you aren't having a significant impact on their life. You don't have to use your imagination too much to think of the items that you're selling as arriving right on time, having a huge impact. It's the exact gift that this husband needed for his wife, or it's the last little piece that the mom needed for the party for their kid. And it's of huge significant value to the family that you created the convenience in delivering that product, right? So you can paint these stories in your mind, and you can imagine your team helping create these moments for your customers. And suddenly there's a bond that starts to happen there, to the point where some of the best friends you'll ever have will be the people that you work alongside, side by side. And I can tell you in my own life that over the past 20 years, I had some great high school and college friends and some people I'd hang out with on weekends, and that was great. And I'd still like getting in contact with those people from time to time. But I'm in a season in life now where I look around, I look to my left, look to my right, and the best friends that I have right now are the people I've been in the trenches with in business, the blood, sweat, tears, risk, work, sacrifice, the things we face together, the people that we've helped in a very tangible way in some cases, where they come into our coaching program and we help them build a beautiful business, and the relationship that's sparked out of that. It's made me a better friend. It's given me incredible friends. And the best friends you'll ever have will be the people that you work along side by side, building something significant. And business gives you that opportunity. So that's benefit number 2. Benefit number 3 is, I often say, you'll start a leadership journey. And if you don't know what that means, it doesn't resonate with you, let's call it finding your ceiling, maybe. You have certain things you think you're capable of right now, certain things you think you're not capable of right now. And maybe you've gotten very comfortable operating within that box that you've drawn in your own mind of, here's the things I'm good at, here's the things I could never be good at, and I'm just going to have to learn to live in this box. Starting a business is going to blow that box up on all sides at different times. You may say to yourself, well, I'm not the kind of person that could really ever talk in front of others. Guess what? You're going to get real comfortable and confident talking in front of others. You're going to learn to be very proud and excited about sharing what it is that you do. And if you can't find it within yourself to be able to talk with pride and excitement about the business that you're building, well, your business isn't going to do very well. And it doesn't matter what the business is. You're going to get better at talking to people. You're going to get better at sharing an idea. When people say, hey, so what do you do? And I was going to say, well, I punch a clock, 9 to 5, brother, living for Fridays. How about that weekend, right? How about that game? You're not one of those people anymore. You're just not. You're one of the people who says, yeah, I'm building something exciting, and I'd love to tell you about it. Here's the short version. You can be one of those people, which means you're going to be a better communicator. You're going to find your ceiling, in other words. And I could give you multiple other examples, but you're going to know what you're capable of, where those lines are that define who you are, what you're capable of. It's going to start expanding. One of the easiest examples is learning to communicate, learning to share with others what you do, connecting, building networks. Let's keep going so I don't end up overlapping myself. You're going to have a really good metric for how you're doing. What does that mean? What's that mean? Well, one of the cool things about business is you know when you're doing it right and you know when you're not doing it right, because the numbers tell the story. Now, maybe not the numbers today. Don't get so obsessed with how things go today, but you want to look at the trajectory. You look at where you were a year ago. Look at where you are now. What's the trends? What's the trajectory? How are things going? That's one of the reasons that I encourage all business owners to journal, is because it allows them to do this. They can flip back a few pages and see the trajectory. If you're not in the habit of journaling, just go back to your old emails. It's kind of a journal. It'll shock you. Go back and read some of the emails you wrote 4, 5, 10 years ago. If you've had email, maybe you've had the same email account that long, just scroll back in time sometime. Trust me. The names you've forgotten, the people that you can't even remember that you were corresponding with, the interesting things you started, the ideas that started and sparked, that you questioned if they were viable, and now it's turned into something huge. And then the opposite, the big ideas that kind of fizzled and faded. It's a great way to kind of see the trajectory, but you're going to have a metric for how you're doing that's always there. And you should always know your numbers. How's the business doing? The numbers tell the story. You've got a metric to measure against how effectively am I serving others through business. The numbers don't lie. There they are, right there, always there. So it's a great internal challenge. You can know. It's hard to measure a lot of things in life, but business, it's not hard to measure. The numbers are right there. So that's a great benefit because it holds you to a standard of constantly stretching and achieving. Next, you're going to learn how to manage stress. That's right. If you didn't know it, if no one's told you yet, having your own business, I don't care what it is, I don't care how successful you ever get, there's going to be a stress level that's associated with business that will train you for the other stressful areas of life and make you better at managing those areas of life. It's going to give you a different perspective on how to self-calm and manage stress, and how to say, okay, things didn't go my way today. What can I do to make sure that this trend doesn't continue and things go better in the future? Stress management. You don't get to just curl up in a ball and say, no, I don't want to do it today. You got to do the things you don't want to do when they need done. And a lot of times that's a big part of stress management. Getting yourself out of that little panic cycle is a matter of saying, okay, if I wasn't stressed, if I wasn't incapacitated for whatever reason today, what would I be doing? That's question number one. And the next is, can I dig deep enough to go ahead and do it anyway? That skill, I call it managing stress, conquering stress. I don't feel like it. I don't have the energy. I barely lack the will to even convince myself that I need to do this today, but I'm going to do it anyway, as if I felt like doing it. And to the degree that you're able to do that, you're going to be able to manage some incredibly stressful scenarios. And you'll look back a day or two or a week or two later and go, wow, I'm so glad that I didn't just stay in bed for 3 days, but instead I knocked out some calls and placed some orders and paid some invoices. Yeah, it was a good use of that time that I was down. And now it's made me more successful than I would have been otherwise to manage that stress. So it's going to make you good at managing stress, and that will translate over into the other areas of your life as well. So I've hit on 1, 2, 3, 4. I've hit on 5 so far. I've got 5 more. It's going to give you a great mind. What do you mean by that, Jim? Managing a business, growing a business is going to give you, it's going to force you to have a great mind. Not just talking about the mental challenge of trying to figure out, how to turn $1 into $5 while serving your customers well. But I'm talking about one of those quotes that pops up from time to time. You've probably heard it. I think it was Dolly Madison. I'm not sure who said it exactly. You can Google me, correct me if you'd like. But it was something like, small minds talk about people. Have you heard that before? Small minds talk about others. They're always talking about people. The gossip, right? Yep. Average minds talk about, I think it was events and things, something like that. Great minds, what do great minds talk about? Great minds talk about ideas. Well, if you're going to be building a business, you're going to be an idea person. You have to be. There's no time for you to gossip. Can you believe what she said to him when he saw him? Like, no, you don't have time for that. You're building a business. You're focused on serving. You're focused on others. You're focused on the ideas that are involved and necessary in building a beautiful business. So you don't have time to have a small or an average mind. You're going to have a great mind, talking about ideas, constantly thinking about ideas, journaling your ideas, comparing ideas, split testing ideas. Okay, let's try this. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try that. So you're going to be in the realm of great minds, not small minds, not average minds. I'm not talking about intelligence level. I'm not talking about IQ. I'm just talking about being a person who's capable of greatness. Getting a business rolling, whether it fails or succeeds, is going to force you to get into the arena of ideas and out of the arena of gossipy small talk. We will continue the episode in just a minute, but I'm so excited to tell you about a new sponsor of our podcast. I'm talking about Profit Cyclops. You are going to want to check these guys out. Get over to silentjim.com/Cyclops, CYCLOPS. For $2 per month, they provide an incredible suite of value to Amazon sellers. Their tool works for Walmart and Shopify and TikTok sellers as well. This is incredible. Check it out, guys. They've got a profit analysis tool that tells you all the numbers on a SKU level, on an ASIN level, so you can know which products are the most profitable and which ones are maybe losing you money when you didn't realize it. You get a repricer. They're rolling out this new functionality right now. You get a reimbursement service. That means if Amazon owes you money, they're monitoring for that, and they're going to make sure you get it for $2 per month. Now, once you go over $5,000 per month in sales on Amazon, their prices go up a little bit, but they love working with new sellers, helping you get ramped up. If you're new to selling on Amazon and you want a tool that really gives you an insight into what your true expenses are per product that you're selling so you can know if you're profitable or not, that's their core function. But as you expand, this is going to grow with you. Know your numbers for $2 per month if you're a small seller. Profit Cyclops. Get over to silentjim.com/Cyclops, CYCLOPS, to get an insight into the numbers of your business. Let's get back to today's episode. It's going to force you to get into the arena of ideas and out of the arena of gossipy small talk. Next, I could talk so long about these final 4. Wisdom. What's that mean? Wisdom. Yeah, it means different things to different people. It's completely different from knowledge. To me, wisdom is just applying timeless truths to current scenarios and not being in denial about how the world works, but knowing exactly how the world works, knowing about human nature, knowing about how people respond to different offers, knowing about how to conduct yourself, knowing little things like smiling even when you don't feel like it means you're going to make more money that week, right? That's wisdom. It takes wisdom to learn these things over time. I'm going to serve my customer. They're not going to know that I'm fighting an internal battle. Today's not about me getting the needs met that I have. Today's about meeting the needs of my customers. And what ends up happening is those things I thought were a big deal kind of take care of themselves, and eventually my needs are met as well. I'm not saying deny yourself constantly of everything that you want and need. Of course not. But I am saying if you focus on others, that'll dig you out of a lot of emotional and mental downward spirals that otherwise you might have gotten stuck in for far, far longer. And business is a great way of doing that. So there's just a little examples of wisdom that comes in some cases with time. I believe it comes from reading the Bible. If you've never sought the Bible for wisdom, get into the Proverbs. There's some incredible books. The wisest man who ever lived, Solomon, he lays his wisdom out. 31 chapters. You can read whatever day of the week or whatever day of the month it is. You know, read that one on the certain day. Today's the 27th. Read Proverbs 27, right? And you just open your Bible up and check it out. You're going to get little nuggets of wisdom that will challenge you. You might disagree with it. You might push back, but as you think about it and go deeper, that's drawing you closer to wisdom. The greatest prayer prayed by the wisest man who ever lived was his request for wisdom. God said, hey, I'll give you anything. What do you want? And he said, wisdom. God said, okay. So yeah, pretty cool to read what that guy had to write after God answered his prayer. That's the book of Proverbs. So being in business is going to challenge your wisdom, because if you lack wisdom, you're going to fail in business. You're going to make false assumptions. You're going to guess about things that you shouldn't have guessed about. You're going to lose money when you thought you would make money because you lacked wisdom. Now, am I saying just because you're wise, you'll always make money? No, there's unpredictable forces out there, of course. But wisdom gives you a huge advantage, and you will grow in wisdom. The next one's kind of a repeat. The next couple, I think, are kind of repeats, but the word hasn't been used necessarily yet. So you're going to learn to be selfless. That's been a theme, obviously, of several of these. You're pouring into others. You're giving of your time, but it's going to make you a better spouse. It's going to make you a better business partner. It's going to make you a better father or mother or grandparent, grandson, because you're going to not come across as someone who's always, yeah, I need. It's all about me. It's all about what I want. You've learned to discipline yourself to say, I'm going to be about others. And that translates and filters out into all your other relationships and your friendships, even the way you conduct yourself when you're playing a game with your family, or enjoying your favorite hobby, or you're hanging out with the people that you have some, weekend activities and events with. You're that selfless person who knows how to give, how to recognize needs in others and not make everything about you. A business owner can't afford to make everything about themselves. You won't have a business. Nobody would buy from you if it's all about you winning. You've got to make sure your customers are winning as well, which is a selfless act on your part to make that happen. So building a business makes you more selfless. It makes you more disciplined. Goes without saying. You can't just do what you feel like doing when you feel like doing it and build a business. Quite the opposite. You have to become a person who habitually does things they do not feel like doing. Now, there's going to be enjoyable parts of your business. Don't get me wrong. There's parts of my business I love. I love making podcast episodes. I love interviewing the successful coaching students from our community who've come through our program and built beautiful businesses. I love that. I don't like filling out tax forms. I don't like paperwork. I don't like anything I get from the IRS or my accountant. But you know what? I got to do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. Otherwise, none of the rest of it matters. That's discipline. That's why I think one of the better habits that I picked up was running. Coming up on 16 years or so ago, I started running on a regular basis, several times per week. I think there's runners out there that like to run. I'm not one of them. 16 years I've been doing something that I don't really like. Now, I like the net benefit, but there's very few times I can remember when running where I'm thinking, oh, this is just awesome. My heart rate is up and pounding and begging for me to stop. My breath isn't coming as easy as it would if I was sitting in my comfortable chair. I'm sweating. This is miserable. It's either too hot or it's too cold, or that I brought the wrong hat. I should have brought something warmer. My shoes, I got to get some new shoes. These things are rubbing my heel the wrong way. It's pain. It's inconvenience. And maybe you've got something like that for you that you do, where you put your body through something that it's saying, I don't know that I like this right now, but there's a net benefit in the end. That's discipline. that discipline translates over into business. And that as you become more disciplined in your business, you're going to find it easier to be more disciplined in your diet and your exercise routines and how you treat your spouse. There's a discipline required there, right? Rather than just saying what you feel like saying because you feel like saying it, how about you say, I'm going to make this about them. I can hold back on my comment for a moment. I want to make sure that they know how much I love them instead of them knowing how I feel about this right now. There's a discipline to keeping your mouth shut. There's a discipline to being patient. There's a discipline to making your life about others. Business reinforces all those things in a way that so few other activities do. It's Samuel Johnson, my version of a quote that he gave, a famous author in the UK, I believe, said, "Seldom is a man so innocently engaged than when in the pursuit of profits in his own business." That's pretty cool. Not only is it innocent, it's virtuous. Not only is it innocent and virtuous to build a business, it reinforces all of those great virtues that are required. You can't do it. Now, you can do business without integrity. You absolutely can, temporarily. No one does it over the long term. Would you go to a business if you knew that as soon as you walk in, they're going to steal from you? No, of course not. You'd stop going to that business. If you lack integrity, you're not going to last. So it's going to reinforce all those things in you to have a business. Final thing, and this kind of captures all of them, and I've mentioned this several times, but it's a great ending point to make. It's going to make you an other-oriented person out of necessity. Some of the most other-oriented people you will ever meet are business owners that have poured into their employees. They've poured into their vendors, their suppliers, and yes, their customers. How do you know this is happening? Because if you're not pouring into others, your business isn't going to last. People will not want to give you $500 for something that they only see $100 of value in. They just won't. They're only going to pay you $500 if they see more than $500 of value, which means it's on you to make sure that that value is there. You have to make it about them winning somehow. The only way for you to have a successful business is to make it about the people you're serving. In other words, other-oriented. And that will translate so beautifully across every other relationship that you have, because you'll find yourself habitually saying to yourself, if someone's going to spend some time with me, maybe it's just walking past me on the sidewalk, I'm not going to make their day worse. You start to realize there's no neutral encounters in this life. Even the sweet lady walking her little dog down the sidewalk towards you, she's got the leash. What's it mean to be other-oriented? Well, you give the dog and the sweet old lady the sidewalk. You step off into the grass. Hey, have a great day. You guys look so cute today, right? Rather than keeping the middle of the sidewalk, putting your head down and saying, people with dogs ought to just get out of my way. You don't win in business with that kind of attitude. You don't win in life with that kind of attitude. And you're going to find it reinforced inside of you if you have a business that, hey, I spend my days serving others in business. It's just part of who I am. It comes so naturally now. And I can tell you, I know literally, and I've interacted with literally thousands of successful business owners, people who have succeeded at all different levels. For some people, success is an extra $500 a week. For some, they're multiple millionaires, multiple seven-figure. The vast majority of these people are some of the most other-oriented people you will ever meet. Incredible, kind souls who, because they spent their days and nights obsessing over how to serve others and be other-oriented in their business, it now falls right into the way that they conduct themselves day to day. Not everyone, of course, there's exceptions. There are some miserable, grumpy, mean, angry business owners. Okay, you got me there. Yes, you could give some examples. There's a handful, I'm sure, that you may have even encountered in your own life. But I would argue, just like, what is the book, Wealth of Nations? If you've never read it. Wealth of Nations, John Smith talks about the invisible hand that lifts a community when a successful business owner does what he does. Even if he's mean, grumpy, and cantankerous, the local butcher is lifting the entire community by providing a valuable service in exchange for money. Better still, if people can't wait to get to the butcher shop because they know he's going to have a smile. How are you doing today? Even though he doesn't feel like it, he's going to remember your dog's name and he's going to pretend he's having a great day because he's serving others. And then he'll go home and he'll, decompress and He spent his day serving. He's going to need some time to recover perhaps, but when he's out and he's serving, he's on, he's other oriented. That's one of the disciplines that you'll need to be truly as successful as you can be in business. And it's going to reinforce and filter into the other areas of your life as well. So that's my list of 10 ways that your life will be better, that you will be a better person if you go on a business building journey, even if it doesn't end up working out as well as you were hoping. All of these things will still be benefits. You will be a better person for it, which is one of the reasons I always say, hey, everybody should have a business. We live in the greatest time in human history to launch and grow a business. Using the internet creatively the way we teach around here, there's never been a better time than right now. The doors that are opening up to us wider and faster than we can possibly ever teach people to go through. So much opportunity. It's not just an abundance mindset, which admittedly I do have. That's just the reality by the numbers that I'm giving you. E-commerce is exploding. It's the fastest growing sector in America's economy. It's exploding in growth. If you're not in on it, I think you're a little crazy, because anyone for just a few dollars can get rolling into building a great income stream online. And you're going to get all the benefits I listed today. Plus, if you do it the right way, you follow a good proven program, you put in the time, effort, and energy required, you're going to build a beautiful business that helps meet the needs for you and your family, something you can pass on. We've involved our kids. We've involved friends. That's an opportunity that's waiting for you if you're interested. The resources of this show are available to you at silentjimdotcom. If you want to get into, there's 2 resources I'll leave you with. If you want to get into the course that's been used by the hundreds of people that you've heard interviewed on our show, the successful students, get into the Proven Amazon course, constantly being updated, constantly adding in new cutting edge strategies for finding great inventory, selling it at a profit to happy customers whose lives you're improving. How do you know you're improving their life? Well, because they wouldn't have paid you if they didn't really want what it is that you sold at the price you're selling it for. You know they were served well. So you can imagine these incredible scenarios with all the stuff that you're selling, right? So that's one tip. The other, if you don't want to spend any money yet, you just want to dive deeper into some of these ideas, get over to silentjim.com/free11, free 11. That's the 11th version of the book that launched this community, Silent Sales Machine, the book. Check it out. I'm going to take you from where you are now and say, here's the landscape of opportunities that are out there on the internet. We've identified 3 types of business models. I'm going to talk to you about the benefits of each of them, how they connect into each other, how you can build multiple streams over time. And I'm going to steer you away from all of the really bad ideas that we've seen as well, because there's a lot of really bad ideas out there, a lot of scams. I'm going to teach you how to recognize the scams, how to avoid them, and how to go after something that you can be proud of. Well, that's all I got for today. Got to wrap it up. Got a phone call coming at me here in just a minute, so I got to take an exit. But God bless you, business building warrior. Please continue to listen to our show. Please scroll back in time if this is one of your first episodes, because we have hundreds of incredible interviews with successful students from our community. And I'll leave you with this. See you in Orlando. You've got to come to Orlando the last 3 days of May 2025, the Proven Conference. We've got our scholarships rocking at this point, which means if you've never been before, or it's a financial challenge for you to come, our generous sponsors have said, hey, we want everyone there that wants to come. Let's get you there. No admission charge whatsoever. Come to the event. Hey, our VIP tickets are $1,000 for this thing. You can come hang out with us, be a part of this event. We're going to cover as many scholarship slots as we can. So get over to theprovenconference.com and get details on that event. Hey, we'll have another great episode for you very soon. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Talk to you then.
Thanks for listening to this great episode of Silent Sales Machine Radio. We have a very quick announcement that you don't want to miss right now.
Does anyone out there ever feel uncertain when choosing an ACE in a test? Like, you know, it's ambiguous and you're not really sure.
Yeah, or like you have to stand on one leg on the second Tuesday of the first week of the month if the moon is in retrograde.
Right. And hold your mouth right. You got to remember to hold your mouth right. Then you might possibly
consider testing that ASIN someday, maybe.
Right. Sometimes Keepa seems overwhelming. Mm-hmm. Like it's got so many data points. What if I'm missing something? I'm afraid I'm missing something, so I don't want to pull the trigger. Right?
Yes. Well, we host a 2-day workshop that will demystify the process of building a predictable, scalable, and sustainable book of business on Amazon.
Yeah, it starts with a pre-flight inspection of a listing. So you can answer the question, should I go any further with this ASIN or do I need to move on?
If you get past that, we're going to show you how to apply 3 simple yes or no questions that will help you decide whether to pull the trigger or not.
Yeah.
You know, like, is this even a good ASIN to test?
Right. And if you do decide to test it, we'll help you implement a framework for a 4-week testing process. And this process is clear and methodical, and it'll tell you whether you should replenish that ASIN or not.
Now, in these 2 days, we're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to practice how to apply these critical concepts together. It's intense, it's focused, and it's packed with frameworks, quizzes, and actionable information that really is going to stack the deck in your favor when finding your first 100 replenishable ASINs.
Or your next 100 replenishable ASINs.
Yes, I love it.
Yes. You're going to leave with a roadmap to create your foundational book of business over the next few months.
Our next workshop is May 27th and 28th in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, but seating is limited. It's an intimate setting, but you'll be able to ask all of your questions, plus you'll hear all the questions of the other attendees.
Yeah, this is fun, dynamic, educational. It's a great experience where you will get to meet and work with other people who are doing the same things that you are with similar goals. Mm-hmm. Imagine how you would feel when you get back home after the workshop and you're feeling transformed from unsure to certain, from cautious to confident, from overwhelmed to empowered.
Right. Yeah. You don't have to stand on one leg anymore and hold your mouth right. Just
Right.
making sure, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So if you would like to feel that way, go to provenamazoncourse.com/100. That's provenamazoncourse.com/100. And we look forward to seeing you there because we're inspired by the accomplishments of others.
We're passionate about helping others reach their goals.
And we're committed to sharing the keys to success that have been shared with us.